Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer and this is Metropolis on Cities Skylines. In today's episode we're going to be taking a look at two mods which kind of work hand in hand to really improve how your junctions look and how they work as well. Those mods are Traffic Manager Present Edition and the intersection marking tool, which basically does what it says on the tin. Basically allows you to mark your intersections and make them look a lot more realistic. Now I've been experimenting a little bit with this off camera because I hadn't used the intersection marking tool really that much, because I've basically been building a vanilla city for the past few months. So if we come back to the Cloverleaf interchange, which we've worked on a little bit over the past few episodes. First of all, we came in with Move It mod to make the slip roads look a little bit more realistic, improve how they look, and then we've used the Surface Painter to come in with the paintbrush and just make them look a little bit better. And then I've come in with the intersection marking tool to actually mark out where the slip road comes on, and it just looks so much better. But to go with that, I've also gone in with the Traffic Manager Present Edition with one of the best tools. I think I'd really love to see this as a separate tool, but it does come with Traffic Manager Present Edition, and that is the lane connector, and that allows you to make the slip roads work properly, because usually even if you do your lane mathematics, say I've got a slip road and 2-lane highway coming into a 3-lane highway, that should work as a slip road. But with the game, sometimes you'll get cars that'll come off and they'll go straight into lane 3, or conversely you'll get vehicles in lane 2 in this instance, and then come into lane 3 and then they'll go straight into lane 1. So there's a little bit of bad behaviour there. So this forces this to work as a proper intersection or slip road with the correct markings, and it just looks and works so much better. This one does have a little bit of a traffic issue, but nevertheless it still works and looks a lot better. So that one's been done. I've been going around the city and experimenting with both of the tools. I mean, I've used Traffic Manager Present Edition previously on other builds, but I haven't used the marking tool so much. So I think I'm going to come down to here because I think this is a perfect example of a entry-exit slip road system which we can improve, and it's got a roundabout as well, which is another area in which the lane marking tool and the Traffic Manager Present Edition lane connector tool can work hand in hand to make your junctions work better. We can fix that straight away, but we'll be doing that in a minute. First of all, we want to go into our options. Now there's a few things you can do with the Traffic Manager first of all. So where are we? Traffic Manager Present Edition. We've got loads of options. So you've got simulation accuracy. Now I've got this to set it at very low, because basically the higher the setting, the more of a strain it puts on your system, but it does mean that pathing of vehicles is better. So it just depends. If you've got a more powerful computer, you could set this to however you want, but I've got it on low. And similarly, you've got another feature. You've got policies. Is it in policies? In gameplay, you've got advanced vehicle AI. So again, you've got a whole other level of AI basically for pathing of vehicles. You can set that to percentage of vehicles performing dynamic lane selection. So this basically means that vehicles will change lanes if a particular lane is full, because otherwise, I think most people know this, but basically the vanilla AI within the game basically makes it so, say a vehicle is coming from its home to its workplace, it'll pick its route as soon as it sets off, so it will not deviate from that route. And that basically what that means is if it comes across some traffic, let's say a busy congested junction, it won't switch lanes or make any clever decisions like that. So that's why sometimes even if you put in like a 6-lane avenue, you'll get one lane which is completely rammed full and other lanes which are empty, and that's just basically because the AI. And basically the developers say it'd be difficult to get the simulation to be more realistic and play well across all platforms. So people with lesser powerful computers, basically the computer be taking all its time pathing vehicles, which obviously is not what you want. But the Traffic Manager Present Edition allows you to turn this up, both the simulation and the traffic AI, if you have a more powerful computer. Reckless driving, now I think this means vehicles, how they behave, how they change lanes, do they cut each other up and things like that, do they break the rules. I've just set this to minor complaints. It gives you a bit more flexibility within the city if vehicles need to take a different path. There's loads and loads of different policies. You can just select these as and when. There's a couple that I do, which is the buses may ignore arrow lanes. So if you've got a bus lane which also is only a left turn lane, buses can ignore that and go straight on if the bus lane is set to a left turn only lane. So just a few things like that, but you can just take a look at these as and when you want, basically. Loads to play with. We're primarily going to be playing with the lane selector tool, which is one of the best tools on here. Next thing we want to go to is the intersection marking tool, which is above that one, and there are a few options in this, but the main one I want to take a look at is the display and usage and the render distance. This was set quite low. I think it's something like 100. I think that means 100 meters or something like that. I put it to 1,000, so you can see if I go back to, where's that Cloverleaf Junction? Over here. If I zoom right out, you can see it, you've zoomed right out until it disappears. So you can change that. I think 100, if you were zoomed out to about here, it would start to disappear, which is not what you want really. But again, it depends on your graphic settings and on your computer performance. That's just one option, one of the main options which you want to take a look at. If you kind of make an intersection, zoom out and think, oh, it's disappeared, it's because you need to change the render distance, basically. So, right, what we're going to do, we're going to fix this junction first of all with the lane connector tool, and what we want is, this does want to be left turn only, this wants to be straight on, but I don't want these vehicles basically doing that U-turn. So we're going to left click on lane connector, and then it comes up with all of your nodes. So if you click on lane connector, it'll show you all your nodes, and then what you do is you click on the node that you want to change. So basically we're clicking on this main node, I'll click on it again, left click on the node. So basically we've got this blue dot here, I want to connect that to that there, and this node as well, I want that to be connected to that node or that point there. And basically what that means is the vehicles can no longer do this U-turn and they will instead go straight on. And I can also do it here now, although it's not essential. I sometimes just like to have all of my junctions, particularly if I'm customizing a junction or an interchange, I'd just like to have all the lanes connected. It's not essential because they will just go straight on, but yeah, that's just my preference basically. And another thing we can do with this is I have, as a global setting in the main options, the restrictions on. So if we click on this X here, this junction restrictions, and then again click on the node, this brings up further options. So we've got this option here which allows vehicles to proceed into a junction even if traffic is backed up. Now usually at a crossroads or something, or a T-junction, you wouldn't want that to happen because basically they could just get in the way of the other traffic. But one thing that the game does is it treats these intersections between two road types as a junction. So basically what will happen is if there's traffic backed up here, they will leave this big space empty, which is like wasted space basically. It's not essential, but it's one thing you can do, especially on these particular types of arrangements where you've supercharged your roundabout. And what this will do is it'll just allow vehicles to proceed into this area here, into this node basically, and stack here. Because sometimes what you'll get is if the vehicles start to slow down and start to build up a little bit, you'll just get traffic backing up and then just waiting up away from that, and it just makes things less efficient. So if we take that off now, press play, and we can see the vehicles should be no longer doing that maneuver in there, which is good. So that's all set up. Now what we can do with this is to make this look better. Now I'm going to be using the tools on other bits as well, but I think as we're here, we'll use the lane connector tool, the lane marking tool, which basically comes up if you go on roads. It should be underneath the options here, that little button that is the intersection marking tool. You can click on that, and then again it just allows you to edit your nodes. Another option is to press Ctrl and L, and that will bring up the tool as well, and you get this screen here. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to tidy this up and make our lines look a little bit better. So we've got this line here, I want this to continue to there, and so basically what I'm doing, going to get a bit ahead of myself there, hover over the point, left click, and then left click on the point that you want to connect it to, and then I want this to be a solid line. So I want that line to continue basically to there, and then I think I want another solid line to there, left click on the node, left click on the point, and another point to there. Now it can also do from here to here. Doesn't always look kind of really polished, but it is able to do some tight corners. If they're a bit too extreme, it sometimes does have difficulty kind of doing those sorts of things, but it can do quite tight curves. So we're going to do that, and I think I want some dashed lines down there just to fill that up, and I think I'll just leave that as. Now there's another trick you can do with this. Say you want this area here to be filled, which I do. What you can do is you can hit hold Alt and the circles will change to little red circles. Click on one and then release Alt, and then you can click on the rest of the circles, and basically you're creating an area in which you want filled. So this has done stripes. You can do like a grid. So basically if we did a grid, we might be able to do like yellow, let's say. Particularly in the UK, you have grids which are basically junctions or intersections which cars are not allowed into or not allowed to wait on. I'm not sure what it's like in the US, but I think we'll just keep that white. But I think what I want in this particular instance is for it to be solid. Now it does tend to go over the pavement a little bit, but I think I'm going to forgive it because it just makes it look a little bit better. Now as we are here, I'm going to press Ctrl L again, just going to tidy this junction up like so. Again, solid line. We'll have another solid line, and I think I just want a bit of a guide there, and that wants to be, I think, actually no, let's get rid of that. So if you want to get rid of a line you've just done, left click on the 2 points that you've done and you can get rid of that, press yes. I think I want a solid line for those, just to give that a bit more definition like that. So that looks a heck of a lot better, I think, and it just gives the whole thing a little bit more definition. Now you could spend hours going over it and improving things, but yeah, it just straight away with a couple of minutes work, well a couple of seconds really, it's made it look so much better. This in the past you would have had to spend hours with decals and props and everything just trying to get this to work and make it look like this. And the lane marking tool, the intersection marking tool, really is, I think it's accurate to call it a game changer in this particular instance. So yeah, there we are. Next we're going to come down to our slip roads. So we've got entry and exit slips onto the highway. I've done my lane mathematics, but still vehicles do tend to misbehave. You'll sometimes get vehicles crossing right over, but we don't want that. So basically what we want is we want a basic rule for vehicles. So if we click on this node here, we've got our basically 4 points. Now you could do this manually, so I could left click and connect that to that, and then connect these up like so. So basically vehicles can only stick in these lanes, so they won't misbehave. It will just stick in these lanes, and this will act as a proper slip road as it should. Which basically that's that. You can do it all manually, or there is a quicker way to do it. If you left click on the marking tool, left click on the node, and then press Ctrl and S, and it's pretty good at doing it automatically for you. So you can see what Ctrl and S does, it just makes all of the nodes straight on only. You can see Ctrl S, stay in lane, repeat to cycle through different nodes basically, and it is pretty good at, you know, sorting itself out. So it's just a quicker way of doing it. So I'll do it again. So we'll click on that, bring our node up, Ctrl S, which has done that, which, oh yeah, we've got 2 left turn lane lips. So let's click off that again, Ctrl S. No, I don't want it to be how it's done it this particular instance. It is probably correct, but I want mine to do it like that, and then this left turn lane can go off like so. And then let's see what it does on this one. Ctrl S, that's done it in the correct formation, so that's all nicely set up. We've got another one here, Ctrl S, and then you can see we've got our slip road, and then vehicles should just kind of speed up, get up to speed, and then ease themselves onto the highway, which is what slip roads basically do. We've got another one here. Now it's done the same again on this one, so I'm going to have to come back and just manually tweak it a little bit to have it how I think it should be, or how I want it to be. So this leftmost lane, lane 1, is basically your exit lane, so something like that. And we're going to return to this entry exit slip, and we're going to press Ctrl L again, bring up the intersection marking tool, and we're going to tidy this junction up. So we're going to connect that up. It wants to be solid, there to there, also solid, and just clicked off it, there to there, solid. These want to be dashed down there, and that wants to be solid down there. And then in here we want to fill this in, so we're going to hold Alt till it turned into little red dots. Select our 3 points like so. This will bring up the fillers tab, and I want, in this particular instance, chevrons, and then starting from, you've got vertex or edge, and that just basically changes the direction of the chevrons. So I'm going to go for edge in this particular instance, but it changes from junction to junction depending on the orientation. So we're going to come in again, fix this junction up, make it look nice. So that wants to be solid, as does that, and yeah, that wants to be solid as well. Solid line down the outside, just to make that look nice and tidy, and then just stripes or dashed down there, and then holding your Alt, select our 3 little red dots, brings up the fillers, chevrons, and then edge again, or vertex. Yeah, it's a little bit off on this particular one, but I think you just have to see which one looks best. I think vertex in this particular, or edge, no, I think vertex looks better, because you want the arrows really to be facing, like the chevron direction to be facing one way or the other, while facing towards the carriageway basically. So yeah, we'll come over here. Now this one's a little bit different because this has got two lane entry basically. I think I just want to change that a little bit with move it, make that look a little bit better. And then we're going to again Control L to bring that tool up. Control L just makes it so much quicker than clicking around. So we want solid down there. We'll do our solid lines first, dashed solid, and then we'll do like we have before, solid. Now you can see where my kind of lane connections come into play. That wants to be dashed and dashed down there, and then holding Alt, oh nope, Control L, Control L, click on the node, holding Alt, and then click on each of, hold on, didn't hold Alt long enough, so hold Alt until you've clicked on the first one, like so, and then you can release Alt and it should just stay with the little red dots. And yeah, again, chevrons, edge. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think chevrons is probably more correct, particularly maybe an British UK roads. I don't think it'd be solid, but it just depends how it looks where you come from basically, or the city on which you're building. So we'll just finish this junction off here, and then we'll move on to roundabouts and making them look better, look and function better with Traffic Manager Present Edition. Now I should have said from the beginning basically, is the intersection marking tool just does marking, so it doesn't actually make the junction act. That's why you need Traffic Manager Present Edition and the intersection marking tool to work hand in hand basically, because you could mark this out, but if you didn't have your lanes marked out with the lane connector tool, the vehicles would just drive all over the place and would not follow the rules set out by your markings basically. So you do need both of these mods for what I'm doing to work correctly. Now I should also say that Traffic Manager Present Edition, even with the simulation on low, does have the potential to slow your system down a little bit, and it did reduce, I think because I frame lock mine to 30 FPS, it did drop down to about 20 FPS. So what I've also got is the FPS booster, which gives your game a little bit of a frames per second boost. So it just counteracts Traffic Manager Present Edition basically, because it can, if your system's not particularly powerful, can slow it down a little bit. And if you're interested in any of the mods that I'm featuring, there is a link in the description below to my Steam collection, which will feature the Traffic Manager, the intersection marking tool, and the mini FPS booster as well. So that's they're all the mods are in that collection. Now we've done our highway on ramps and exit ramps, and that all looks nice. It's all working well. I like how it looks. We fixed this little bit here. Now I'm going to turn to the roundabout and itself and make the roundabout function better. So first of all, I'm going to come to this one here. This wants to be an exit only, and what I tend to do, I think this is correct for a UK roundabout, but it might differ again from your country or the city on which it's based. But so basically this lane here should be for left turns only. The middle lane probably wants to go over, and then the outside lane, you want them to have two options of just sticking in the outside lane or going into the middle lane like that. And I think that's probably the most accurate arrangement. So basically this left turn lane here can go into both of those, middle lane over there, and then this one I've actually decreased it to 2 lanes, but you get the idea. I'll do it again on this node here. So that is for turning off only, that is for that lane, and then the outside lane, now they go into the middle or stay in the outside lane. It just gives the vehicles in this, so basically a vehicle should be in this lane if they've come from here, usually on a real roundabout anyway. So a vehicle coming from here would be in the right hand lane, would go in the right hand lane, and then they might try to go all the way around, but they might need options. Usually they'd kind of have gone over to one of the other nodes by now, and remembering that vehicles usually only tend to change lanes on nodes or around nodes, so do need to make sure that vehicles do have plenty of options to get into the lanes that they need to get into basically. So I think I'll leave them empty. I think I'll just change this one, so this one the left turn only lane or an exit lane, and then this one has those options, and we'll just, I know it's already marked out here, so I don't need to do this technically, but I'll do it anyway, just so that's all nicely marked out like so. Now we want this roundabout to look a little bit better, so one thing I want to do straight away is resume the game, is this one here. So basically between, now I don't, will it do that? No, it looks a bit rubbish. Yeah, get rid of that. I think between there and there I will have dashes. We do normally have dashes like that to denote give way on a British roundabout anyway, so that should be a give way. So that's, those dashes there just represent give way basically. and then we just want to tidy this up. So I think I'll put a nice curve in there. It should just about do it, which it has. That's good. Now remembering where I've done my lanes, so I haven't actually done this one. I think I'll mark them out actually, and then what I'll do is come in with the marking tool, and I will have lane markings. Now on UK roundabouts, you don't normally have thick or long white lines. On roundabouts like this, you'd more than likely have small dots or dashes. So I think on this one here, dash length, I'm going to change that to 0.5, because basically what these are guides more than anything. They're not actually fixed rules, these are just kind of guides to guide vehicles around. I mean, that's my experience anyway of the roundabouts, or the larger roundabouts, particularly roundabout interchanges like this. They're normally kind of dashes. So we come over to this one here, from there to there. It wouldn't definitely be a solid white line. Not in the UK, we don't have markings like that on roundabouts. What we'd have some small dashes just to give a guide for the vehicles. And again, this one here, we'd do small dashes like that just as a guide, rough guide for vehicles. It's not a solid line, it's not a long dash, which basically means it's more of a strict rule that you have to stick to. It's just more of a reference for the drivers. So that's how they tend to look in the UK anyway. Here I probably tend to leave that, maybe just tidy these edges up with solid lines between those two bits. They don't always line up perfectly, but I think it just looks better solid like that. But I guess we could have small dashes coming on like that, just change it down, and then again here we want onto there small little dashes just as a guide like so, and then connect that up with solid white lines. I think I'll connect those two bits up as well with solid, and there as well, just tidy everything up. Now one of the other things with this tool is, in the past it would have been really difficult. I mean, I found it difficult anyway to do markings manually on raised areas. I think it definitely is possible, because I've seen other more skilled creators doing it, but it is a challenge, whereas this just so easy just to mark out raised sections, and just makes life so much easier. So we'll have the dashes along there as the giveaway, and we'll just make this look a little bit tidier with the solid lines. I think I'll connect those two edges up solid, and then we'll have some, I think, dashes, small little dashes again just on there like so. And then coming to this final one here, we want our little dashes to denote that that's a exit only, and then that wants to path over like that. Just connect up those areas again, solid lines, just to tidy everything up. And then we just want our, from here to here, we want our giveaway dashes, and then from there to there, just want little ones, and then connect that up with your solid line again, just to nicely, neatly finish that off. So if we, oh no, we've got one last, getting a bit ahead of myself, one last junction to do. So yeah, we are doing, again, we're doing only left turn on that one, small little dashes, tidy that up, and then what do we want? We want solid from there, and then I think we'll get, again, we'll have, I think I'm tempted to have little dashes across there as well, just to kind of separate that a little bit, like so. No, we don't anything, because basically don't want a line from there to there, because their own vehicles are only coming in from this lane here, and then they're given the option to spread off into the lanes they want to. So there we are. I've set this roundabout. It's accurate for a UK roundabout interchange, I think, with the entry and exit slips with the chevrons and the markings on the roundabout. From my experience, is accurate, but things may change, like I said, depending on your region or what you're accustomed to. But you just have so many options with the lane marking tool. It just transforms your intersections and your junctions and your roundabouts, and you can apply it to crossroads or things like that. But in the UK, we don't tend to have that many junctions which are marked out. I suppose on here I will just quickly show you the line connector tool. So basically we can force, if we have the simulation turned down too slow, we can force the sims to use the correct lane. So this has got straight on and right, where really we want that to be a right turn only lane, I think, and that one is something like that. So the vehicles in here could go in either of those two lanes. Now I think I'd be tempted, I think this wants to be right turn again. I'd be tempted just to leave these as they are, because we do have buses in them. Remember I said about the options in the Traffic Manager Present Edition for the gameplay, for the policies, buses may ignore lane arrows. Now what I've done in the past is I've actually manually done this, so this was only a left turn lane, and it's forced buses to turn left. So I think if you have, even if you have that policy turned on, if you do the lane connections manually, it does force the bus to change lane. So get rid of that. I think I'm going to have to correct it. So we want that to go in straight on and like that, and then we can get rid of that, get rid of the policy on the bus lane, because it just keeps things a little bit more simple. Although saying that, it's, can I, yeah, if you just press delete on the node like you've done, then it gets rid of any of the changes that you've made. So I'd probably be tempted to leave the bus lane, but particularly this right turn lane, this right hand lane wants to be a right turn lane, and similarly in this direction also. Now I don't think I'd be tempted to mark this out all alone. What I might do just quickly, just before I finish up, is just mark this area outlets. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to press Alt. I want to bring up that, press Alt, and then see if I can actually, no I can't. I was just going to see if I can create a hatched area, which basically means you can't pull in, but I don't think it appears that you can. No, because no, it's not. Well, let's try it. So we click on that little one there. No, we can't create a square, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, you can mark out your lanes if that's what you're used to, basically. And I've still got a lot of work to do, and a lot of these roundabouts improving them, but we're slowly getting there with the lane connector tool and traffic manager present edition. So I will leave you with this little interchange here, which is all looking nice now, much more accurate, and everything's working correctly. And I'll say until next time, bye bye.